welcome to another episode of the Sports Enthusiast Podcast. This is episode 6. Hope you guys have been enjoying so far. Last episode has got out a little bit late. We're sorry about that, but that just happens sometimes. People get busy. Today, I am joined by the 5'7", 130-pound absolute beast, Ashton McConnell, and the 6'1", 214-pound Lucas McGee. How are you boys doing today?
I'm good. Not going to lie to you guys. I just got a paper turned in. I don't got anything really cool happening. What about you, Mick?
I got work later, but we're sitting fine.
Yeah. Be sure to check us out on all social medias. Twitter is at SportsENTPod, and Instagram is at the Sports Enthusiast. Make sure to check us out there. Tell your friends. Tell your grandma. I'm sure they would all enjoy. Boys ready to get started?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's go with the NFL. Power rankings start at 10. Ashton, if you want to start it off.
Or do you want to start with the season leaders?
Good point. But I think we should go with power rankings.
Okay.
Damn, we're already fighting. We've been here for 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so power rankings. Here we go. Number 10. Came off a bye week. Carolina Panthers. Tough test against the Niners. It'll be very interesting to see how Kyle Allen performs against the Niners' elite defense, and then McCaffrey obviously will have to carry the workload for them. That's why they're number 10 for me.
I also have Carolina. I think, the bye week helped. I think this week's going to hurt. I don't see much of a chance of Carolina winning, even as a Carolina fan. Like Ashton said, elite defense from San Francisco, and
I will say Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't looked that impressive this year, so you guys could give him a little trouble. So
it'd be pretty easy to give him some trouble. He has looked pretty bad this year, but they also have 6 running backs that are capable to play on 35% of teams.
They also don't have Christian McCaffrey.
Okay, but you get what I'm saying.
yeah.
Oddly enough, I'd have the Panthers as well. We're not reading each other's notes. We don't discuss these before, but yeah. And I actually think the Panthers have a chance to beat the Niners this week. So
thank you.
I'm more confident than the Panthers fan is.
The two non-Panthers fans have more confidence than the Panthers fan himself.
Yeah. Sounds like Minnesota. Don't get me started with Vikings fans. And I'm a Vikings fan, but some of them are a little rough.
Okay.
On to number 9.
I have the Seahawks. They still got Russell Wilson, but last week he got outplayed by Lamar Jackson, so that was kind of huge, and that defense for Baltimore stepped up against Seattle, so that's a little scary to see, but I feel like they're still a top 10 team in this league.
At number 9, I have Aaron's team, the Vikings.
Number 9?
Yeah.
Still seems a little low to me.
I'm not buying into the fact that they're a power team yet, and I'm only saying that because I still don't believe in Cousins. Give me one more week of Cousins, and I'll snap them back up.
They do play the Redskins this week.
But it's on a Thursday, which kind of does scare me.
Don't be scared.
From
it's
performance
Redskins.
perspective.
Unless McLaurin goes off.
And then someone's going to get hurt probably because they're on short rest. They don't have enough recovery time.
It'd be really funny if Cousins got hurt because I feel like your third stringer would be better than Cousins, but it's okay.
Just stop. That's wrong.
No, Cousins sucks.
No. Don't get me started on Thursday Night Football, by the way. Oh, it's wrong.
You've already complained most
I know.
episode 2 or
every
1.
time we mention it, it's going to be a complaint for me because I think it's a really dumb idea to have players play 2 football games within a 4-day span.
Good for you. Now tell me your 9th team so we can get it.
Sorry about that. Mine is the Dallas Cowboys. They're coming off a big win against the Eagles. They're taking the division lead, and they're a top 10 team.
Okay. Number 8, I know they just lost, but it was on the road. The Texans, honestly, they could have very easily won if it weren't for an interesting call at the beginning of the game where Deshaun Watson scrambled and made an insane touchdown pass only to get counted as down, which I don't know how he was considered down, but, they did give up 30 points, though, but they're very inconsistent, and so are the Colts, and the Colts just had a good performance after the bye week, so that's why Texans are number 8.
I also have Texans at number 8, so Ashton, quit looking at my notes, try and be an independent person here. I think that the Texans have a pretty good team this year, a lot more surprising than I thought they were going to be this year, since we're kind of getting to that not quite mid-season, but kind of mid-season point where I can say, At the beginning of the year, I did not have the Texans this high. They're surprising me.
My number 8 team may come as a surprise, but it's actually the Los Angeles Rams, the third team standings wise in their division. I have a lot of confidence in the Rams. I think Sean McVay is a really good coach, and yeah, I mean their point differential is really good this year. They're blowing teams out when they do win games. They can't really convert on these close games, but that's why they're not higher on my rankings. But I think they're a really good team, and number 8.
Just with the Rams, kind of like with the Cowboys. With the Cowboys, the Eagles, we don't know what they're looking like. That's why I'm a little hesitant. Same with the Rams. The Falcons, they're not that good. So I'm just going to pump the brakes for the Rams until they play another good team and pull out a win. So number 7, I have the Ravens. It's kind of surprising because I haven't had them in there the last couple of weeks. But with that Marcus Peters trade, I think that helped them out a lot. Big win against Seattle on the road. Lamar Jackson was balling out. Defense was balling out as well. I think they put Russell Wilson out of the top spot for the MVP race, and I think that was a huge win for them. Now they're 5-2. Division's looking not so good with the Browns, Steelers, and Bengals, so that's why they're number 7 for me.
My number 7 team is the Colts.
Ooh,
Just came off a big game against the Texans. I don't know what I want to think about the Colts yet because their receiving core to me should just be T.Y. Hilton, but every week they have another receiver step up.
Mm-hmm.
This week was Zach Pascal.
Yeah. He's
I don't know
got a
how
weird
you
name.
pronounce that.
I think it's Pascal, but I don't blame you for mispronouncing that one.
There's like a CH in there. I don't know. English is hard.
You're not wrong.
But as I was saying, I like what Indianapolis is doing, but I don't want to buy in yet. I think Jacoby Brissett's having an amazing year.
Yeah, he's a really good quarterback.
I liked him when he had his 2-week stint in New England, and since then I've been all over him.
Mm-hmm.
I think Andrew Luck retiring helped the Colts.
Oh, stop.
Okay.
That's a joke, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just get to your number 7.
I don't know. Sometimes that we have.
Just go.
Okay. My number 7 team, I'm still not on the bandwagon. 49ers. I don't know. I just can't get on their bandwagon yet. They can't prove it to me until they play a solid team that, because they beat the Redskins 9-0, but I don't think this week really mattered. It seems like a bye week for them because it was in the rain. It shouldn't. No one's gonna watch tape on this game and say, "Oh, we can figure out Kyle Shanahan's offense by this."
But it was a really cool game to watch.
Yeah,
Some of those sliding videos were awesome.
that's true. You saw Nick Bosa with the celebration. He slid off the sideline. That was pretty cool.
What I would consider the Flood Bowl, possibly.
Yeah, the Flood Bowl. Ashton, you're number 6.
People are listening now. Indianapolis Colts. I've been riding Jacoby Brissett ever since Andrew Luck retired. I've said, don't worry, Jacoby Brissett will be fine. The Colts will be fine. And look at that. I think are they in the division lead as of right now?
I believe
Yes,
so.
they are.
Yeah, Jacoby Brissett. I know he's not Andrew Luck, but he's not washed up. He can play, and they also got a good running game. Marlon Mack, Naeem Hines, good offensive weapons with T.Y. Hilton, Eric Ebron, Chester Rogers, those type of weapons. In their defense, not that bad. I mean, they can just do it all. They're all around well coached as well, so that's why they're number 6.
I'll give number 6 to the Baltimore Ravens. Came off a good game. I don't have much to say. Didn't watch the game. I just saw the end score and stuff. And they've had a pretty good year so far. I mean, one of their losses was to the Chiefs when the Chiefs were good, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see the Ravens later in my rankings. I'm a big fan of them. Speaking of the Chiefs, they're my number 6 team without Patrick Mahomes. That's why they moved down so much. Otherwise, they'd still be at 2 if Patrick Mahomes was still there. But, if you lose your quarterback, you're not going to be as good. So the Chiefs are so low.
Yeah, Sunday night, it kind of sucks because I think people wanted to see Rodgers versus Patty, but
Yes, the 2 best quarterbacks in the league. No questions asked. Don't debate it. It's true. That would have been so fun to watch, but we don't get it.
well, number 5, Aaron's going to be happy. I have the Vikings. I will say, give Kirk Cousins
Slightly low.
Give Kirk Cousins one more week against a really good defense. The Lions, I
like
still-
the Lions defense.
As do I.
I think they have a very solid defense.
I believe though Kirk Cousins against the Lions usually plays really well. I'm gonna wait until San Francisco,
We're going to play San
New England.
Francisco. We don't play New England. Or yeah, we do.
Like those type of
No, we don't.
defenses,
Hey,
though.
drop the wheeze. That's annoying.
Oh, it's we. It is we.
Forgot you're part of the Vikings organization.
It is we. I have contributed towards their value, organizational value, so that means I'm part of the organization.
I can respect that. That's the cleanest comeback
Am I
I've ever
wrong?
heard from that. No, you're perfectly
Okay.
good now. You can say that all you want.
Okay, thank you.
I just felt like I needed to say that because I got a math teacher that always loves to get mad about
As
that.
do I.
Yeah, I will say though, like with the offense, ever since their loss to the Bears, they seem to like be taking a step in the right direction, throwing it more. And as for the Bears, they need to run the ball more. They're taking a step in the wrong direction. As you saw, they only threw it like 7-8 times, or ran it 7-8 times and threw it like 55-60 times. As for the Vikings, they're still running it effectively, but now
Keeping a balanced attack.
Yeah, and that's really helping them out, and that's why they're my number 5 team.
Number 5 team is a team I've been all over all year. The Bills.
Number 5?
Yes, sir.
Damn. Okay. I respect it. Not really.
I think that the Bills are showing that they can play competitively in a late game, and they can play close games
If they have the lead, I will say. But yeah,
I mean, it's just where I'm coming from right now. I like Josh Allen. I like Singletary and Gore. I love Buffalo's defense this year.
It was really good last year too. Just nobody cares.
Yeah, but like now it's starting to seem like a good defense. Micah Hyde returned an onside kick for a touchdown.
Yeah, you don't see that every day.
That was an awesome video. That whole spin in the air thing, loved it.
Again, Sean McDermott, one of the best coaches in football. I'll say it every single week if I have to.
and
And you'll get to say it every single week because I'm going to be all over the Bills every single week.
Yep.
with the Bills, it seems like they're kind of like a Seattle type team. Like they don't, or Jacksonville, past Jacksonville teams. Like they're not gonna win like big, but they make sure if they always keep it close, but they always make sure to get the job done when they need to.
Their defense can win them ball games if they need to.
Yeah.
My number 5 team is the Green Bay Packers. You may think it's a little controversial to have them below a certain other team in the NFC North, but I just think, the Packers played well. I had them like this last week. I have them the same this week. It's really just status quo.
Even after we beat you, okay.
Well, this is not a week 2 power rankings or week 3 power rankings. This is a week 7 power rankings.
Who is the better record? Okay.
This is not a record-based thing. This is a power rankings team. That's like if these teams matched up right now, who would win? And I would have the Vikings beating the Packers right now in a neutral field. That's what I'm saying.
Number 4. Assuming they lose tonight, I have the Patriots because I feel like...
How do you assume they lose against the Jets?
Because the Jets have Sam Darnold back.
Oh my God, Sam Darnold, the best player in the history of football.
Yeah, this is his first game back, and he's playing the best secondary in football. Second game back. He's playing the best secondary in football.
It's Tom Brady on the road. Tom Brady's going to have no receivers tonight.
He doesn't care if Philip Dorsett can get the job done.
Philip Dorsett's still questionable.
He'll play.
Okay, confidence.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say Sony Michel and that defense should be able to win the game.
And you said, either you or someone said themselves, it's always been a touchdown game or less.
That was your brother.
Yeah, the last 6 out of 7 games.
I just think that's one of those random trends that like Vegas, like some bettors use, because there's so many trends that you can find that will favor one side or the other. So I'm not as big a believer in like trends like that.
Tom Brady on the road, and I think the Jets, the momentum now with Sam Darnold in that locker room, because with Luke Falk, they wouldn't even open up the playbook with him. So
I'll take Tom Brady on the road any day if I need to.
Yeah, I'm not as big on Sam Darnold as you, bro. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he's not what you're acting like he is. You make it sound like he can win this game against the best defense in the league tonight just because it's home. Whatever.
You forget they have Le'Veon Bell as well. I know he's...
Le'Veon Bell's been horrible this year.
No.
Horrible
I think
standards.
I think it's more of his offensive line problems because
but
he has more than... I think he has like half of their yards from scrimmage this year, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But even if it's the offensive line's problem, it shows you can't use Bell as a...
And they're relying on him so much. So
That's why I'm saying with Sam Darnold back, they don't have to rely on...
When he was playing, they did the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's... before he got mono. Let's talk about that.
Nah,
let's not talk about
Just
that.
go to your number 4 team.
My number 4 team is Ashton's team, the Packers. They've looked good this year, and I don't want to piss Ashton off, so I'll stop there. Aaron, your number 4 team.
I got my team, the Vikings. I considered putting them higher.
Higher?
Yeah, I did, but I didn't because I'm an unbiased podcaster.
He just says that so that people listen more.
It's
That's okay.
true.
We need money.
Am I wrong?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, Kirk Cousins
Sucks.
shutting everybody up. I love it.
He hasn't shut me up.
Well, looking like it.
No
4
one shuts me up.
touchdowns, 320 something yards, I think. Pretty good game.
25.
Yeah, pretty darn good game if you ask me. I don't really got much to say.
All I have to say, just give me Kirk Cousins against a tough game, like a Sunday night game against a pretty good defense. Not saying the Lions' defense is bad, but they're not elite.
They're pretty close.
And if Kirk Cousins
they're pretty close.
Kirk Cousins can get the job done, then yeah.
Well, he plays Thursday night, which is prime time. Everyone says it's a prime time issue, and watch him go out and beat the Redskins.
It's the Redskins. They're losing games because their
So?
defense is
Well, no,
absolutely
everyone just says it's a prime time
ridiculous.
thing. Oh, he can't play in prime time. Can't play in prime time. He's gonna play in prime time, and he'll probably throw for like 370.
Because their corners are terrible.
The
They're
Redskins they were
They're
lucky.
okay because you want Kirk Cousins to sound good.
He is good.
He's not.
He is good.
Not by any means.
By my means.
Your means are the wrong means.
Okay.
Ashton,
Well, you said any means.
they're not real means.
Okay. Okay, number 3, I have my team, the Packers. You saw what Aaron Rodgers did Sunday. Just best performance by a Packer QB in history, perfect passer rating.
Passer rating wise, I wouldn't say it's the best
Yeah, but
performance.
6 total touchdowns, 5 passing touchdowns, over 400 yards passing. Defense did scare me a little bit, but we kind of got lucky with Derek Carr's fumble at the goal line, which allowed it to be a touchback, which I don't know what you really make of that rule. And then it's not like the Derek Carr played bad, it's just that the defense, Aaron Rodgers lit that defense up with his receivers, like 2 questionable receivers who were kind of limited, banged up, a lizard, and Jesus. And he was able to throw 6 touchdowns.
Well, I mean, if he's throwing to Jesus, it shouldn't be too hard, to be fair.
This is not Christian football podcast, everybody. No,
Okay,
I'm kidding. You're not going to be.
Onto the topic. Aaron Rodgers proved once again he's the best quarterback in football. I say it every single week. He's the best quarterback in football. What can I say? He threw for 420 something yards, 6 touchdowns, and he was on my fantasy team. It's good stuff.
My number 3 team is the Saints. I'm still all over the Saints.
Okay.
They're still winning.
Mhm.
Kamara didn't even play last week, and they look good. And my big argument last week was Kamara's super good at carrying that team. I think the Saints' defense is amazing.
Yep.
Other than the end of that Bears game, it was kind of questionable, but it's
Boy.
okay. It happens.
It does. My number 3 team might surprise you guys. The Baltimore Ravens. I have them super high coming off a big win against Seattle. They've been one of my favorite teams all
You've
year.
hated Seattle the last few weeks. I'm sorry, not to cut you off.
I know. I'm not saying. I know.
You've hated Seattle.
It's
the last
still a
few
big
weeks,
win. I had them in my top 10 last week.
and they shoot up after a team that you did not believe in at all. Whatever.
I had them in my top 10 last week. I'm lower on them than most because if you saw what happened against the Ravens, they got destroyed.
Okay.
I'd say I was pretty much right on that. So the Ravens coming off a big win against Seattle, as I said. I think Lamar Jackson is an MVP candidate this year. I think they are a Super Bowl contender easily, and they have one of the best defenses in football, along with the second best secondary in football.
Yeah, what will be big is if Lamar can develop his passing game, then I don't know what to say because
His ceiling is just unlimited.
like I've said, Michael Vick is basically his ceiling. That's what I've been seeing. And
One thing I'd like to add on the Ravens that I forgot to say with mine is Marcus Peters came in first week and got a pick 6.
Yeah.
He made the Rams look stupid because Ramsey had a quiet game.
You as a corner, you want a quiet game.
Exactly. But
yeah.
you get what I'm saying. Like Marcus Peters showed that he still has game.
Yep.
And that he's still a top corner in this league. And I don't know.
But did Julio really do much against Ramsey? Even though the Falcons are just...
He had a very average game.
if you want to talk about the Falcons-Rams game, we might as well bring it up.
Should
What was
we?
Devontae Freeman thinking?
Yeah,
I know you guys are definitely not prepared to talk about this, but
that's fine.
what was he thinking to hit Aaron Donald, the biggest NFL player in the NFL?
He's not the biggest NFL player,
you
but he
seen
may
that
be the
man?
most jacked.
I meant most jacked.
Okay.
I saw a comment like him getting picked up by Aaron Donald was like a varsity player picking up a JV player.
Yeah, it was the stupidest thing I've ever seen Devonta Freeman do. I think he was just tired of getting his butt
That's almost
kicked.
like Lucas trying to beat me up for a second there.
No, me trying to beat both of you up.
Okay,
Okay,
let's move on.
Okay.
You can go on.
Let's
Number
move on.
two,
Number two.
I know you've been kind of low on them. I have the Niners. Sunday, they could have easily gotten a one in that loss column because that Flood Bowl game was basically anyone's to win. It was so hard to throw the ball. Jimmy Garoppolo, I think at one point was 4 of 13 with like a pick. Whatever. He had like under a 10 passer rating.
I started Jimmy Garoppolo in fantasy this week. Didn't look at the weather conditions. That's an honest mistake on my part.
Yeah, because in Washington, I mean, you never know what they could have done, but like I said, San Francisco's defense looking really, really good, especially in that type of weather. That could have been very tough for them, but they still pulled it out, and that's why they're number 2.
My number 2 team is Aaron's favorite team in the league, the New England Patriots.
Favorite? No, they're just the best.
I
Sorry, I just realized number 2.
Yes, I'm more or less doing it so that
You can
if the
piss me off.
Patriots, no, if the Patriots do lose, I'll look smarter.
Oh, by the way, guys, sorry we haven't mentioned this. We're recording this on Monday afternoon before the Patriots chess game. If you guys couldn't tell, just an FYI, because that we'll be talking about that game a little bit.
But as I was about to say before, Aaron rudely sliced me. If the Patriots were to lose, and either this week or the next week, I feel like I have a higher looking reward by predicting that. I'm not confident. They're good. Don't get me wrong. But I see room of error coming.
And that's why I have them number 4, because if they lose, then I'm the one.
But once they win, and you guys predicted the Jets,
I'm not predicting the
I
Jets.
predicted.
I'm thinking next week, but maybe it'll be this week. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, my number 2 team is the New Orleans Saints. I think they are better without Drew Brees, as I mentioned last week. That's really all I got to say. Their defense is amazing. They're a really good team. One thing that worries me, their point differential is only plus 17 in their 6-1 club. They haven't blown anybody out yet. Their biggest win was this week against the Bears. It was by 11. So that kind of worries me that they're relying too heavily on close games. But, I mean, if it's working, might as well keep going.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how they've been run in the past, even with Drew Brees. And that is who my number 1 team is, the Saints. They're just all around talented. And without Drew Brees, I don't know why people were not doubting Teddy Bridgewater, like not trusting him as much, because obviously he's not Drew Brees. But I don't know if you can. Do you really want to put Drew Brees back in?
He's not Drew Brees. He's better than Drew Brees.
Do you want to put Drew Brees back in if Teddy Bridgewater stays undefeated by the time he's healthy?
I think a lot of it will be, you got to think ticket sales. There's all these fans in New Orleans that are obsessed with Drew Brees because he's been there for forever.
But Sean Payton's not the owner.
But Sean Payton easily could get controlled by the owner.
Yeah.
Because the owner could easily say, oh, shucks, sorry, Sean.
But then Sean Payton could say, like, well, look at this. Look at the results.
And you just offered me a new contract. So.
And, I mean, they're obviously still selling out ball games. New Orleans fans are crazy.
Yeah.
True. New Orleans is a crazy city.
Yeah.
In general. That's why they have the number 1 party school in America. Just for the record. Tulane University. Fun fact for you guys.
Interesting you're looking at party schools. Wonder why.
Barnes or something. I don't know.
Getting ready for college.
Certainly.
Yeah. That's the list you want to look at.
Because, we'll be doing the podcast. We'll have me out in New Orleans and you guys sitting in Cresco.
Yep.
It'll work.
Okay.
All right, my number 1 team. Obviously, the 49ers.
Obvious.
I love their 6 running backs. I don't know what else to say. They have an elite defense.
Yeah.
They're playing amazing lately. I know they just played Washington, but around week 6 is when you start to see little mistakes get slipped up from these good teams that are having good records. And they didn't look that slipped up. They looked like they were slipping, probably because of the weather, but they didn't look like they were slipping up mistakes-wise. I'd like to see what New England does tonight.
Mhm.
Maybe they're going to slip up. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Okay. One thing, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, I don't take anything from that Washington game, throw it out the window. No one's gonna look at it.
Only if I can throw you out the window.
Have fun. I'll give you a chance.
All right.
My number one team, you guessed it, they've been number one all year. New England Patriots. I mean, they have the best defense in football. They have the best coach in football. One of the better quarterbacks in football. He's not what he used to be, obviously. Tonight they're without Josh Gordon, their biggest weapon or their biggest target on offense, but I still think they can get the job done with Philip Dorsett, who I do think will play, and Julian Edelman. So yeah, not much to say there. They're the best team in football in my opinion. Ashton, anything to add on that? Seems like you had something.
No.
Okay. Now I'm just gonna go through some of the stat leaders, just kind of letting you guys know where we're at. Leading in passing yards is Patrick Mahomes with 2,180, even though he was out half of the game against the Broncos. Number 2 is Phillip Rivers, actually, who kind of surprises me at 2,114. Then Deshaun Watson at 1,952. Andy Dalton, 4th at 1,923. And then Tom Brady with 1,743 for passing yards. And then Tom Brady's will obviously go up because he plays the Jets tonight. But he'll probably throw for more than 200, so he'll probably end up in 3rd ahead of Deshaun Watson. On touchdowns, Patrick Mahomes with 15, Brissett with 14, Watson with 13, and Rivers and Lamar Jackson are tied at 11. With picks, Baker Mayfield and Andy Dalton are the leaders. Baker has 11, Andy Dalton has 8, which is kind of interesting to see. In rushing yards, it's actually Leonard Fournette leading the league in rushing yards with 715. Nick Chubb is 2nd with 607, and Lamar Jackson is 3rd in the league in rushing yards, which is interesting. In receiving yards, DJ Chark leads. Oh, this is AFC. I'm sorry. We're just going. Okay, AFC receiving yards. DJ Chark leads it with 581. Then Keenan Allen 564, and Cortland Sutton with 564 as well. On to the NFC. Passing yards. Passing yards. It is Matt Ryan with 2170, Dak Prescott with 2123, Aaron Rodgers with 2019, Jared Goff with 1995, and Wilson with 1945. Leading in touchdowns, Matt Ryan with 15, Wilson with 15 as well, and then Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, and Kirk Cousins, my boy, along with Carson Wentz, are tied at 3rd. And leading in picks, we actually have Jameis Winston with 10 picks, Matt Ryan with 8, and then Daniel Jones, Jared Goff, and Dak Prescott tied with 10. Daniel Jones is up there, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, he's
making rookie mistakes.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take it too hard. Yeah. Even though I'm still not on Daniel Jones' bandwagon, I still say he's out of the league in 2 years.
In 2 years?
No.
His rookie contract won't be up.
I mean, this is not counting this year, 2 years from now.
His rookie contract still won't be up.
Yeah, it's happened before.
Not really. Not very often.
Okay.
Out of the league or else a 2nd or 3rd stringer.
Okay.
Is going to be irrelevant.
Okay. Leading in rushing in the NFC is Dalvin Cook at 725, followed by Christian McCaffrey at 618, and Zeke at 602. And in receiving, we have Michael Thomas leading the NFC in receiving at 763, Chris Godwin at 662, and Amari Cooper at 621. Sorry to bore you guys with that, but just in case some people wanted to know. We want to move on to our next topic here.
Mm-hmm.
Vikings and Packers both get big wins. We can start with the Packers game if you'd like.
I mentioned it on the power rankings with the Packers, but Aaron Rodgers was just incredible. Packers pass defense, their defense in general, they had no sacks, and our turnover didn't come until late in the game, and we still blew out the Raiders. That kind of amazes me. That shows we don't really have to get a sack or a turnover, do a lot on defense to help out the offense.
Yeah, like you mentioned earlier, Aaron Rodgers with an absolutely stellar game. I thought that was quite impressive. Now we'll talk about the Vikings game. Dalvin Cook, 25 attempts for 142 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. That's just some amazing stuff. And his longest run was only 23 yards, so it's not like that all came on one big play. That was just consistent run the ball. and then let Kirk kill him with play action. 24 for 34, Kirk Cousins, 337 yards actually, not 325. 4 touchdowns, no picks, and a 141.1 rating. It's very impressive. Stephon Diggs caught 7 of his 8 balls for 142. Good stuff. And Irv Smith finally had a game. 5 for 6 on his targets and receptions for 60 yards.
With Kirk Cousins, though, like with mainly his rollout passes, it seems like he throws a lot better rolling out to the left than to the right, which usually doesn't seem to be the case for a lot of right-hand throwers. But when I watch him, he always makes accurate throws on the left side.
Yeah, he does the thing. Him and Russell Wilson are very similar rolling to their left because they square their shoulders very well and they set their feet very quickly. They both have really good feet. Obviously, Russell Wilson's way faster than Kirk, but they both have similar footwork coming out of the pocket rolling to the left.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not going to participate in this Kirk Cousins love party. I'll just sit in my corner of the couch and be happy.
Okay, that's good.
I've got to compliment him. He's been balling out right now.
I wish I could be throwing to 2 of the 3 best receivers in the NFC North.
Okay. I mean, you could make that argument. Awkward silence. Just go over there and eat your nuts, okay? Nuts as in Planters nuts. We have Honey Roasted over here. Hit us up with a sponsorship if you'd like. Oh, big news. DeJounte Murray just got an extension from the Spurs. 4 years, $64 million. Along with DeMontis Sabonis getting a 4-year, $77 million extension. So some extensions coming out today.
And we'll talk about those later in the show when we get to the NBA. But
Yep.
For now, if someone wants to get us, I'll get us started even.
Okay.
The Chiefs won without Patty Mahomes. Tough schedule coming up. All I'm going to say is this is going to be a long Chiefs losing streak. I've been through the Matt Moore stuff as a Carolina fan. It's not fun. It's going to make you think you have a shot, but in reality you have no shot in hell.
Yeah,
Matt Moore is not a good quarterback. The Chiefs' running game is horrible. Horrible. At least the Panthers had the Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams during that time, but Damian Williams,
LaShawn
McCoy's
Darwin
there.
Thompson.
Darwin Thompson doesn't get carries.
Yeah.
I'm just
Daryl Williams.
letting you know the running backs.
Yeah, exactly. I wish that they'd give Darwin Thompson a chance because I did draft him this year. I was big on him.
You should have dropped them already, right?
I did, yes.
Okay.
I drafted him week 1, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What I'll say is Packers and Vikings kind of got lucky. That's who the Chiefs play these next 2 weeks. So that'll.
Yeah, they play the Vikings in 3 weeks.
Oh,
I
3.
believe. They play them at the end of the absence window, I guess.
Yeah, that's huge though. That the Vikings and Packers get to avoid Patrick Mahomes. That could have been bad news, Bears.
Yeah, and we're happy that Patrick Mahomes is going to be coming back this year too.
Yes.
We all love watching him play. Obviously,
Except for Lucas.
Except for Lucas.
I do like watching him play.
As
but
you should.
I'm not as big on him as you guys. I was just watching that injury though. Like it seemed like it could have been a lot worse than it actually was.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch what happened, it looked like he was in instant pain. I really did think it was a torn ligament. I'm glad to hear it was only a dislocated patella. That's my piece on it.
Moving on to some of the Eagles locker room issues, there was an original report that it was Alshon Jeffrey, but actually yesterday, I believe, Josina Anderson came out and said it wasn't Alshon. So now we don't know who it is.
Yeah, with the
I'd like
issues.
to make some bets on who it is.
What,
Let me go with any of that secondary.
and what the issues are, it's basically people aren't happy with kind of Doug Peterson and that coaching staff and even Carson Wentz's leadership in that locker room. And as for who I think it would be, I feel like it could be kind of a vet leader. Maybe one of the old linemen isn't like
Maybe
Jason
Kelsey.
Yeah, because he's been there for a while too, and it's not the same as with Nick Foles when they went on that Super Bowl run, and then obviously last year that close playoff run as well.
Jason Kelsey doesn't seem like a guy that would.
He's so chill.
He seems more like an upfront guy as well.
But
like he would discuss it with Carson or with Doug, independently.
I do like Jason Kelsey. Reminds me of Travis Kelsey.
I wonder why.
I wonder why.
You gotta expect the unexpected, though. I mean, you never know.
That's true.
Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it was some of that defensive secondary. They're upset. They're not doing what they're expected to do.
They
suck.
horrible.
And I mean, there's a lot of attitude there
I think
in those corners. If you look at their college careers, they played with attitude. They're not functioning in the NFL. That could be some of it. I could see some of it being some of the running backs out there. Sanders.
I don't think Sanders was
I don't
good.
think it is Sanders, but I'm blanking on the other running backs.
Jordan Howard.
Jordan Howard,
Oh
thank you.
yeah,
I
because
could see it be Jordan Howard. He did have a worse game than
I think Jordan Howard needs to realize that Miles Sanders is the better running back.
he is. Miles Sanders is much more multi-purpose.
Just another report for us Vikings fans. Adam Thielen did not participate in practice today, so that does not seem favorable towards his status for Thursday.
I thought he broke his hand when I watched that play happen. When he had that little rollover, I thought he hit his hand into the wall and broke it. And then I found out it was a hamstring. I was like, oh.
Interesting.
yeah, I thought it was like an arm or whatever too,
Yeah.
the way he was going, and then he limped, and then yeah.
Now we're here.
Moving on to the Ravens Seahawks game. The team that I had third, actually, Lamar Jackson, led them to a win against Seattle, outdueling Russell Wilson, who was on pace to be potentially the MVP of the league. Now Lamar Jackson might have catapulted himself into that discussion. So
Yeah,
your
we don't
thoughts on the
really
game?
know who's the leader with the MVP. It could be Christian McCaffrey, maybe the leader now. Maybe Aaron Rodgers has snuck into the conversation. Maybe even Lamar Jackson. We don't have a clear cut, really.
More news. Zion Williamson had some successful surgery and is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks.
Ooh,
That's a long time.
Yep.
Ooh.
So we won't be seeing him for the start of the season,
Well,
unfortunately.
There goes my Rookie of the Year prediction.
Yeah.
Fortunately, my
Um,
Rookie of the Year prediction lives on.
That means RJ has a shot.
What do you think about it? Injury issues were a thing that, everyone was concerned about with Zion coming into the league and the big body. So,
And he had him in college and in high school. I mean, missed extended time in both.
And if we're talking about injuries, let's go to college football quick. I just want to ask a quick question. Does Tua's injury affect his draft stock at all?
Miserably.
I wouldn't say miserably.
I think he slides. Look at what Jalen Hurts is doing this year.
Jalen Hurts isn't going to be a first-round quarterback.
Apparently he's been moving up.
Not to the first round.
Joe Burrows. I mean,
He's not going to be a first-round quarterback either.
I'm just naming. I'm sorry, Aaron is the most egotistical son of a bitch to ever try and argue with. I'm sorry. But
Well, you gotta give me some good arguments here.
what I'm trying to say is, like, if I'm Miami and I'm living in the situation I'm living in where I have no green light anywhere, and Tua's...
I'd draft Jerry Jeudy.
Get off Jerry Jeudy. Holy cow, that's annoying. Yeah,
Or
they're going to take
Chase
a
Young.
receiver
Or
when
Chase
their
Young.
quarterbacks are... Jeff Fitzpatrick's pretty good.
Give Josh
He's
Rosen
gonna
some
die.
time. Give Josh Rosen some
Rosen
time.
is horrible.
Give him time.
The Cardinals gave him time,
Give
and he
him
was
time.
horrible.
No, they didn't. They gave him
traded him
1
after
year.
1 year.
Yeah,
They
and
give him
in that
time.
1 year, he got worse.
He's dealing with about the same O-line. They traded away their best O-lineman. The Dolphins did.
Yeah, they traded
Larry
away Larry
Tunsil.
Tunsil.
Got traded, yes, but, like, still, Josh Rosen's not a good quarterback.
Which he,
I think he can be one
I
with
don't-
a solid O-line and a good receiving core.
You can stick a lot of quarterbacks back there and say if they had a... Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback because he has...
I'll take Kirk Cousins any day of the week.
Get off Kirk Cousins. Whatever. All right.
okay. Next.
Okay, do we want to talk about Lamar outdueling Russell Wilson?
I think we mainly explained it in the power rankings. Obviously, Lamar's trying to make an MVP case a little bit. So
Okay, let's talk about the LA Chargers off to a really rough start this year. Philip Rivers is statistically doing really well this year, but not necessarily producing any wins.
yeah, what I've watched from the Chargers games, at least like that Steelers game, something's off with him. Like I don't know if it's just age is getting up to him or
Maybe
what.
one of the
because
kids are giving him a hard time, however many
Yeah.
there are.
because
One of the 50.
Maybe
yeah.
he's stressed. He wanted to get that full football 11 out there, and he just might not be
Yeah.
able to do it.
Because some of his throws just look like way off. Like where was he throwing it to? And it just seems like his arm strength is just not where it used to be.
Yeah, and I actually think that's true because if you looked in the playoffs last year, he really couldn't throw the ball down the field, and teams are noticing that, and especially the Patriots game. They really didn't need to play anyone deep, and that's what they did, and they absolutely blew him out in the playoffs.
I'll make a suggestion to the Chargers coaching staff right now.
Start Tyrod Taylor.
Yes, but that's separate. That's my Tyrod Taylor love.
Yeah, I knew you
Love
loved
Tyrod
him, so that's
Taylor.
why I thought you were going.
No, but if I'm them, I'm gonna drastically cut Gordon's carries, and I'm gonna turn to Eckler. Eckler's been playing a lot. Look at how they started. Look at how Eckler started the year, though. Eckler was one of the higher stats running backs.
Well, that was mostly because of his receiving output, though. Like, if
Yeah.
you look at Phillip Rivers,
Exactly.
he's leading the league in passing yards because he's dumping it off to Eckler every time.
Exactly, but like Gordon hasn't done much this year at all. He's had 2 games, I understand that, but like, where are you gonna like limit the fact that he skipped the first 6 weeks? Was it 5?
Or
5, 6 weeks
5 weeks.
that he skipped. It's like he kind of deserves what's happening.
I will say though with Melvin Gordon, Zeke kind of has took a little bit to get ready and stuff, like get back to his older self, and it seems like he's kind of getting his body back in shape with everything you saw that Eagles game.
Well, I mean,
yesterday.
Zeke's third in the NFC in rushing, so he's doing obviously well for himself.
But I don't know. I don't think Melvin Gordon's as dedicated as he needs to be with a team that's not that good right now.
Well, he does want out, so
Good for him. He's got 1 week to get out, or else he's stuck there for the rest of the year.
I mean, speaking of that, we could talk about the trade deadline that's coming up. If we have any thoughts on that quickly.
for the Packers, I did say I wanted to trade for a receiver, but I don't know. Now, I don't really think we need to trade for anything. I mean, our receivers are looking to be developing pretty well, and Aaron Rodgers has been making the best use of it. And as for other teams, I think the Eagles should try and see if anyone has a cornerback that they're willing to trade.
They should take calls on cornerbacks. I heard they tried to get either Jalen Ramsey or Peters. I'm not sure which one.
It was Ramsey for a first and second round pick.
That just obviously wasn't enough, as we can tell. I don't know, Lucas, if you have any thoughts on that. I obviously have a couple.
What I will say is, as a Carolina fan, I know the Broncos recently inquired about Cam Newton. I really hope they don't part ways with Cam Newton.
Don't trade Cam Newton.
He's a great quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He's got an amazing body. That sounds really weird, but like at 6'5", 250?
260.
260.
He's up there.
He's essentially like a power running quarterback, and he's gonna have a lot of fight for the yard kind of. He has that fight for the yard mentality, and I think he's gonna be able to do good things for this team now that McCaffrey's putting everything together. And I think maybe they should part ways with Kyle Allen now.
This is going to be Kyle Allen's highest trade stock of his career. He's never going to have a higher value.
And that's what I'm thinking is go get a second rounder or something for him. Because someone will reach. The Broncos are in red alert mode right now. Cause
if I'm the Broncos, I just wait. Just get the first pick in the draft and take Jerry Jeudy. No, they shouldn't take Jerry Jeudy.
They're waiting.
I was going to say they got Sutton. They're fine.
They have Drew Lock that they're waiting
for. Nice combo, though, for the future.
And the thing about Drew Lock is that thumb injury, I guess, is not healing the best.
It's good that they waited till the second round to take him. It seemed like he would be like a top 10 quarterback almost.
Yeah, I was really big on Drew Lock also, but he's hurt still. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. So I obviously have thoughts on this. I think the Vikings should inquire about a right guard of some sort, a right guard, left guard, and we can move Elfline all over the place because we need him. Josh Klein is not going to get the job done at right guard for the season, especially when you go against guys like Aaron Donald, Fletcher Cox, as I mentioned earlier. I think those guys can just absolutely dominate Josh Klein. He's a below-average lineman, and I think we should also possibly inquire about a tackle. I'm not sure how much that would cost, which is the issue for me. I don't want to give up multiple first-round picks for a left tackle or even a right tackle because Brian O'Neill's he's a good player, not a great player. So he's replaceable. Another position of need I think the Vikings should possibly address is a 3 technique. Another thing with that, it's another position that is super pricey in this league. So I don't know if it's really worth giving up multiple first-round picks for. But if the opportunity presents itself, I think a 3 technique would be nice as well.
And I will say, I think for the Bengals with A.J. Green, I don't think they will be able to trade him because I think technically he's still hurt. So I don't think they're allowed to trade him. So not that they would trade him anyways, but he is on his last year of his deal. So I don't know how big that will play.
Yeah. If we have any other thoughts on certain teams that might want him. The Texans actually, I think they just traded for what's his name from Oakland. I forgot his name. Former first-round pick.
Conley.
Garyon Conley. They traded a third-round pick for him, which I actually think is a really good trade for them. It potentially you could argue it's too much. The Texans aren't going to have any picks the next 2 years. It seems like, but the Raiders still stocking up on picks. Garyon Conley, okay player, and he really adds a lot to that secondary, which was very weak. So now we can move on a little bit. If we want to, we can go to baseball if you'd like.
Why not?
My favorite sport, as said before, it is World Series time.
Should we talk about the championship series first?
Yeah, sure, if you want to. You can start it off if you'd like.
Okay, so let's start with the NL. We had the Nats versus the Cardinals, and Lucas, how you holding up after that one?
We're okay. We're okay.
The Nats just...
No, we're not okay. The Nats looked good. I mean, I'm not that surprised. The Nats came in pretty warm, and Aaron was right.
Aaron was right.
I hate baseball. I mean, that stuff. Rough day to be a Cardinals fan.
Yeah, this World Series...
But it's still a better day than being a Twins fan.
Nope.
Suckers.
Twins are winning the World Series next year. 2020 champions. Garrett Cole wins World Series MVP. We're beating the Dodgers in 7.
Who gets World Series MVP?
Garrett Cole. We're signing Garrett Cole. He's a free agent this year.
Last time I checked, he's still tied to Houston right now.
Not
Pretty ballsy to predict a free agent.
Yep.
I really hope you enjoy when I melon clap the crap out of you when he signs to, like,
Well, he's not going to sign with the Twins.
Philadelphia.
You know that's a complete joke. He's not going to sign with the Twins.
You have the worst sense of humor ever. Ashton, you can talk about baseball more. I'm just going to glare at Aaron from across the way.
Okay, and then obviously the AL series, the Astros. What's up with the Yankees? Literally, they have so much talent, and they can't make the World Series.
I think the Astros had more talent, though. Excuse my yawn. I think they had much more talent.
I'd yawn during baseball, too. It's a pretty boring sport.
No, I think it was because of Lucas's arguments. Back to the Nationals series. Their bullpen actually did the job. It wasn't great, but they got the job done. They took care of business. Their offense got them up to big enough leads to beat a horrible team like the St. Louis Cardinals, as we've mentioned in multiple topics before. That's a joke, kind of. Not really. Not once you watch the Well, we're sorry. Lucas just threw a jar of nuts at me.
Sorry, I didn't know how to control my anger.
Yeah, so he decided to... Okay.
Should we just get on to...
I think we should start...
I think we should get this baseball topic over with. Let's talk about World Series predictions.
Okay, who wants to...
Everyone, just go down the line. Who wins? I'll go first.
No, Lucas, you give your full prediction.
My full prediction will be a rage in 30 seconds. Who's ready?
Alrighty, go for it.
The Nats in 7. Anthony Rendon. You know what? They should throw some accents or tildes or bullshit over
Continue.
I think they...
Biggest underperformer, I'm going to say it's either going to be Springer or maybe if I had to choose a pitcher, I'm going to say it's going to be Verlander. Just because I want to be the one guy that predicted it and I don't know crap about baseball to begin with. So it's okay.
Good job admitting it.
My X Factor is going to be Anibal Sanchez. I think if he has a good game, it's going to be kind of series changing. Because that's kind of like it's going to go either way. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if the Nats got the first game and then lost 2 and 3 and won 4 kind of thing.
Okay.
And then ends up at a 2-2, and then I don't know what's going to happen in those last 3 games.
Well, you think you do, obviously.
I think I know
the Nats in 7.
I think it will go 3 games. I just don't know what order it'll be.
Okay.
Because I don't know who's going to pitch yet and stuff. But obviously, I'm just going to go with they'll go Verlander and Scherzer game 1, and then so on.
But yeah, if we look at the probable starters, like if we just look at it from an outsider's perspective, I would assume it'd be Scherzer, Strasburg, Corbin, Sanchez, Scherzer, Strasburg, Corbin. That's start game 7. And then for the Astros, it'll probably be Verlander, Cole, Greinke, probably Wade Miley, or they'll do a bullpen game in Game 4, and then it'll be Verlander, Cole, and then probably Greinke Game 7, which kind of scares me.
I wouldn't be surprised if they switched Cole and Greinke if they were up in that series.
That's true. That's true.
Just to kind of save it in case. But I'm really big on Garrett Cole because a little bit I know about baseball.
He might be the best pitcher in baseball.
I've been big on Garrett Cole. Again, my baseball history is kind of weird. I watched a few games here and there, and one of the guys that I know is Garrett Cole because I've seen him a couple times.
And a thing that I love about this series, you can make the argument that they're the 3 best pitchers in baseball are in this series, and you could maybe even say the top 5 even with Strasburg and Greinke.
I mean, lots of good pitchers in this series.
Amazing starting pitching in this series.
There's a washed-up starter. Hannibal Sanchez's time was a while ago.
He's
still good.
He's a good pitcher.
His time was a while ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, my X factor for the Astros is Josh Reddick because believe in the fact that the man can turn his year around.
We have a joke that we won't say about Lucas's love affair with Josh Reddick earlier, but
we'll get over it.
We'll let it slide.
We'll get over it. Keys for each team, I'm just going to say, pitching both ways.
Yep.
It's going to depend on how the starters do. I mean, if a starter has an off day, it's going to blow the game for him because it's the way it's going to be against these guys because if one starter's bad, the other starter will be good. You guys can go. I'm going to take a nap.
I guess I'll go. So my winner, I was thinking about picking the Nats, but I thought go with the Astros. Seems like they got more talent. 6 games, MVP. Jose Altuve, I mean, you've seen what he's done this postseason, over a 300.
Amazing or postseason, excuse me. Absolutely, he walked off. We didn't even talk about the walk-off.
We don't, I mean, people probably know it.
That was the legendary stuff, right? It's such a cool moment for me when people walk off like these championship series and stuff. So yeah, sorry to ruin your moment.
That's fine. And so far, for biggest underperformer who's underperformed so far for both teams, for the Astros, I would say it's George Springer. He's only at a 152 average and 46 at bats this postseason. Definitely not himself. Usually George Springer's kind of like that all-star caliber player. And for the Nats, Kurt Suzuki, I know Kurt Suzuki, he's a veteran. He's not really known for his offense, but he's got a .05 average and in 20 at-bats only has 1 hit, so he's definitely going to have to step it up in this series. And X factors for each team. For the Astros, I have Jordan Alvarez. I know he's a rookie, but he hasn't really done well either in this postseason. He's been also an underperformer, but I feel like he can definitely step up in those clutch moments with his power with the bat. And then for the Nats, Ryan Zimmerman, he's got that veteran presence at the plate. You've seen his past 2 series need a big hit, big at bat. He's been able to capitalize and do that. And then for the keys for each team, Lucas said it, pitching. I mean, if someone struggles, then you can almost say that's the game.
On to my predictions, I have the Astros in 7. I predicted this way back. I don't think I had them in 7, but I did predict Astros versus Nats. I'm going to keep saying that I did it because it's really impressive. My MVP is, I'm still debating between George Springer and Alex Bregman. They're 2 players that I just love to watch. If I had to choose one, I'll probably say Alex Bregman. But if the Nats are going to win, it's going to be Anthony Rendon winning MVP. And my biggest underperformer that I expect in the series is going to be Daniel Hudson. He's a Nats closer. I feel like he could have potentially some bad games, especially because I don't think he's matched up well in the past against some of these Astros players, even though they're in limited at-bats. My X factor for each team, Ashton reading my notes again, Jordan Alvarez of the Astros. He's rookie sensation. He's had a bad postseason. He's been in the hundreds, I believe, for his batting average. He's too good of a hitter to be down for this long. He'll bounce back, I'd assume. And for the Nats, I don't know if you want to call it an X factor, but I'm going to, because most people kind of look over his name. Actually, Trey Turner out of the leadoff spot. He sets the tone for this ball club. He's on the base pads. He scares pitching. If you have maybe Justin Verlander or Garrett Cole, you can get him a little riled up, especially to lead off the game. He's a good hitter, too. People overlook that part of his game with his defense and his speed out there.
I'm just good in before we...
What? Do you have something to add?
Not even slightly. Just good in before we hop over to the next sport.
Well, I'm not done yet.
Oh, keep going then.
No, continue.
I was just going to say something I saw. Matt Nagy just came on and said, and I quote, "I'm not an idiot. I know we have to run the ball more."
I was actually going to mention that later. Thanks for stealing my thunder, Lucas.
Sorry, you shouldn't have talked about baseball so long. Give me time to research.
Okay.
Let's talk about this now, then.
Mike, no. Allow me to finish. No? Yeah, I got it. The keys for each team. I just cut you off, Lucas, and I feel really good about it. The keys for each team. The Stros, they need to keep a consistent bullpen. Roberto Ozuna did blow a save in Game 7. So we don't like to... Or not Game 7, in the last game of the ALCS. So they need to obviously fix that. And then they need guys like Ryan Presley to perform well. And then Springer and Alvarez need to get going. I obviously predicted George Springer as a potential MVP. And then Alvarez is my X factor, so I think these guys can get the ball rolling a little bit. And for the Nats, if they're going to win, they need a good bullpen performance. That's their one weakness of their team. They're going to need long games from their starting pitching, or long outings from their starting pitching. Their bullpen needs to save the day, and then along with the bottom of their lineup needs to carry their own weight. Obviously, we know about the top 4 guys. We got Turner, Eaton, Rendon, and Soto. But the bottom of that lineup is kind of a little iffy. You have Kendrick batting 5th, but then after that you have guys like Zimmerman and possibly Victor Robles. And it'll be interesting to see how they incorporate the DH as well. I'm now done. Lucas, let's go on to your topic.
So what's this mean for the Bears? Matt Nagy says he's going to run the ball more.
That's what they did last year. They ran all sorts of creative plays. You saw people in motion all the time, and that led to the run being left open a lot. And with Mitchell Trubisky, he's it seems like he's a college-type quarterback right now, and they might have to go back to that. That's how they were very successful, and on the defense, they relied on them a lot.
Yeah, and Dave Montgomery was one of my favorite players coming out of the draft. I believe he was a first-round capable running back, and he fell to the 3rd round. I was really hoping the Vikings could have got him at the end when they traded up in the 3rd, but he was already gone, and we got Alexander Madison, who's also been really good. But for the Bears, I think this is the obvious. We all know it. Dave Montgomery needs to get the ball. You drafted him for a reason.
It will be interesting to see what they do. If they'll maybe do what the Chargers have done a little bit lately, where they've had Eckler and Gordon both on the field at the same time. If they'll do that with Cohen.
I mean, I know last year Cohen lined up in the slot a third of the time from all of his snaps. I'm not sure what that stat is this year, but
it has to be lower.
Yeah, and I think it should be higher.
Yeah,
if you just look at it from a depth chart perspective.
Exactly.
On to basketball. You guys cool with that? Opening night predictions. What do we got?
So at 7, I was wrong. At 7, the Pelicans are at the Raptors, and then at 9:30, these are both on TNT. We got the Lakers at the Clippers. Well, Lakers and Clippers, pretty much in the same arena.
Yeah. Will it be the Raptors championship ceremony?
I would assume so, yes, because they are at home. So
you got to think they're going to come out one to show it in front of their crowd that they can win without Kawhi. I got the Raptors taking that one pretty big, even though I do have the Pelicans making it to the playoffs. And then for the Lakers-Clippers, I got the Lakers. LeBron putting on a big performance. I expect 30-plus with 10-plus assists.
Yeah, so Pelicans-Raptors, Zion had surgery, out 6 to 8 weeks. That'll hurt a lot for this year. So I'm going to take the Raptors. I think they are going to have something to prove this year without Kawhi Leonard, show that they can be a good team. And Lakers-Clippers don't have Paul George, so I think that'll help the Lakers out a lot for this game and many games to come, so I'll take the Lakers.
I also have the Raptors over the Pelicans. My reasoning's a little different. Pascal Siakam just got paid, and I mean paid, and I feel he's going to step up and show that he deserves that money, that he can be a one guy on a team kind of thing. I think that's where his mentality will be, and I think he's going to show his dominance against the Pelicans because their bigs without Zion kind of slide a little. I mean, I don't know who's the other bigs. Jackson Hayes is out there.
Hayes is one of them.
Jaleel Okafor is.
Big Oak. He's going to be kind of tough on Pascal because he's not going to be as physical as
Derek
Okafor.
Favors.
But Pascal could probably take him outside. It'll be
interesting. Okafor and Pascal, I doubt, will be matched up against each other.
Derek Favors will probably be starting.
Yeah, regardless, Favors is a little stronger than Pascal.
Yep.
But he's slower, so it'll be interesting to see what Pascal does. I don't know.
And I'd like to see Pascal, not necessarily running the point, but taking some of the ball handling duties. You saw that somewhat in the playoffs last year because he's a good ball handler for a big guy.
He's a damn good athlete.
Yeah.
I'll give him credit. And then for I have the Clippers over the Lakers also. I just think Kawhi will come out and prove that he did lead the Raptors to where they are. And I don't know. It's going to be, I think it's a lot of individual for this first week. And that's just how I'm going to predict it for this first week.
Yeah, and just a little addition here. The Cavs are going to claim Alfonso McKinney off waivers, the former Warrior. I don't know, just a little fiddly deal there if you guys care.
Let's start talking some of these contracts. We got a couple that came in while we were on the podcast and everything.
Some big deals. I guess we can start with DeJounte Murray. I think he is 100% worth his deal for 4 years, $64 million. That's a steal if you ask me. I know he's coming off a big injury from his knee, but based on the way he played 2 years ago, he's 100% worth that
And
deal.
sometimes you got to just take those risks for the potential of a really good player, and DeJounte Murray definitely has that potential.
And if any team can take it, it's the Spurs. They got Derek White out there too, if they need to.
Yeah.
If Murray does flop, they can probably unload the contract eventually. I don't think it'll be like.
And it's only $16 million a year. If you look at these next two contracts, I'll spoil it here quick. 4 years, $94 for Buddy Hield and Jaylen Brown, 4 for $115. I mean, I'd take DeJounte Murray over both of those guys, and I'm not joking about that.
And I'd take him for comparable. If Buddy Hield was getting paid this much, and if Jaylen Brown was getting paid this much, I'd still take DeJounte Murray because I still think he has more upside than the other two.
Yeah, I think DeJounte Murray's the best out of this group. Yeah, 100%.
Especially in that Spurs system, he's a defensive player, and Popovich loves defense. I mean, you saw Kawhi became a superstar out of San Antonio as a defender.
Yeah.
I think DeJounte can be a second coming as a superstar coming out of San Antonio.
I mean, he's tall, he's long, he's athletic. I mean, the only thing, like we mentioned in the last podcast, we talked about him a little bit, is he's got to work on his jump shot. That's the one thing that...
He has reliability on offense. He can get to the hoop.
Yeah, he can attack the rim. He's a good finisher.
He can also guard him, similar to Ben Simmons.
Yeah, that's what Ben Simmons just has to work on. If he can get a jump shot, I've said this before, people got to talk about the Sixers. So we'll see what happens with
I think you can talk
DeJounte.
about the Sixers even if Ben Simmons doesn't get a jump shot.
Yeah, if you look at that lineup, like
that's a nasty.
we talked about
that's
this
a
last
rebounding machine lineup.
Josh Richardson being the smallest guy, he's a dog.
He's probably gonna play the point guard.
Well, he'll guard the point guard probably.
That's what I meant. But
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Next contract, unless anyone else wants to.
I mean, we can mention Buddy Hield if you guys want.
We'll go to Buddy Hield, sure. 4 year, $94 million. I like his shooting ability personally. I like his offensive ability. He lacks defense.
Yep.
He kind of seems like he lacks a little work ethic. Kind of like what people are saying about Wiggins. But I think Wiggins will turn it around.
Yep.
Go Wolves.
Well, he had his one amazing year, and then something went wrong.
But what I will say
He'll bounce
is, like, Buddy Hield's such a soft player. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Buddy Hield, he has kind of improved his game, mainly his shooting. He's become kind of a deadly shooter, close to deadly shooter in this league. When he first came in, I mean, he was not bad, but you don't really talk about him as much as you do now, especially with his shooting ability.
And a kind of surprising thing is he was like one of these college kids that stayed 4 years, I think, 3 or 4 years. So you would assume he would be more developed and polished coming out of the draft, but he really wasn't. And now he's kind of improved into being a solid player, and the Kings obviously think he's worth the money. I don't know if I do, but the Kings do. That's all that matters.
I think some of it might be that Buddy Hield's there to keep De'Aaron there. I think that those two must get along pretty good. I think the Kings should be all over De'Aaron right now.
Yeah.
He is one of the most athletic people to come out of.
He'll probably get a max deal.
I'd hope so.
I mean, if it's not a max, it'll be close.
Anything else on Buddy?
Nope.
We already kind of talked the Pascal Siakam deal, but you got a lot of money.
Yeah,
and he deserved all of it.
Deserved every cent. Another contract, like I mentioned, that we could bring up is Jaylen Brown, 4 years, $115, which is crazy.
OVERPAID, overpaid.
I don't know what Danny Ainge and that organization is doing.
Jaylen Brown's a really good player, but he's not better than DeJounte Murray for my money.
They're buying in on Brown and Tatum, is what I'm assuming.
I don't know. I don't like either of them.
To.
I don't like either of them.
I wouldn't do it. I'm surprised they did it with the Kemba deal that they already have on the books.
Yeah.
Well, what if another team's interested in him and they're just giving him the contract now and then just gonna trade him away?
I doubt that'll be how it would work though.
Yeah.
But it
'Cause
would
you're
be a
gonna
Danny
get
Ainge thing to do.
you're gonna get less value though from the because if you give him, if you don't even pay him, there's no way any other team in the league would pay him 4 years for 115.
It's a Danny Ainge move, though.
Yeah. Let's talk about some pressure.
One more contract I'd like to bring up is Domantas Sabonis.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
We slightly mentioned this earlier, but we can elaborate.
What was that? A 4-year?
4 years, 74 million.
Something like that. Another guy that I think is overpaid. I didn't see him doing much in Indiana this year.
I wouldn't argue. I mean, it's not even $20 million a year, so I wouldn't say he's overpaid. I just don't think he's as good as DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, it still seems over. Isn't it still over what DeJounte Murray's getting?
Yeah, it's more than DeJounte Murray.
I don't even value him close to DeJounte Murray.
But part of it too, you got to think of the system they're in. Do they fit the system?
He does fit
well?
very well in Indiana with
Yeah.
Nate McMillan's system.
We'll see how long Nate McMillan stays there, though.
I would say it's for a while. Because I think he overperformed with the Pacers last year tremendously.
I mean, and it depends what they expect out of Miles Turner, I guess, to be doing this year as a player.
His potential is through the roof.
He can be really good, but I don't know what they're going to have him for a role next year.
Yeah.
Especially with Oladipo back.
Yeah, that too.
Well, let's talk about some pressure, like how much pressure is on some of these playoff teams. One team with a lot of pressure going in that we think are going to be in the playoffs, and the one team that we really don't think has much pressure on them but could overperform their expectation.
Yeah, so we're going to do the one for each conference. I'll start with the East, team with the most pressure. I think there's two teams you could put up for debate. I'm going to say the Bucks because kind of like with Ben Simmons, Giannis is kind of put pressure on to get his jump shot developed even more. And you saw last year they were close to making the finals. It's just that Kawhi and the Raptors stopped them. But they did lose Malcolm Brogdon. That could be a big piece for that organization and that system that they run. But for Giannis himself, he's up there for the best player in the world. And if he can't get his jump shot figured out, then it's going to be kind of hard for him. And then least pressure, I would say the Nets. Obviously, KD not going to be there for the year. And Kyrie, we saw what happened with Boston last year. I mean, I feel like it's a better run organization with the Nets this year. And I don't think anyone expects them to do much in the playoffs if they do make it. So, yeah.
All right, so my team that has a lot of pressure going in is going to be Philadelphia. They just put a ton of contracts on the books. They show that they're buying in for right now. And I feel like if they have a flop this year, it could be panic mode just because that's how some people would react in the GM position. And I wouldn't be surprised if he snapped. I don't know who the GM is.
Elton Brand.
Oh, it is Elton Brand. He might not snap. That guy, he was on some crappy teams over the years.
Yeah.
I love Elton Brand. I did not think he still had that job. Go him. And then out east, I also had Brooklyn. Personally, I don't think. I think everyone's like, okay, next year's Brooklyn's year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that Brooklyn can kind of sleepwalk through this year if they want to. Just kind of hope that Kyrie doesn't like tear an Achilles or something.
Yeah, let's not even say that. Knock on wood. That wouldn't be good.
I'm not gonna knock on wood.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he needs it. I don't think he'll do it, but if he did it, check us out. I predicted that.
My Eastern team with the most pressure is actually the Boston Celtics. I mean, they're a big market team. Everyone talks about them with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They just paid Jaylen Brown. I think they're going to tremendously underperform their expectations. So yeah, that's really what I got there. I think Kemba's a good player though.
And I think the loss of Al Horford might actually be bigger than people think. Enes Kanter compared to Al Horford.
There's a leadership gap there. I mean, Al Horford led that team as an old guy kind of thing.
And another thing as well, they go from having one of the best defenses in the league. I think Brad Stevens is a great defensive coach, but when you look at their defensive lineup, you have Kemba Walker can't play defense, Jason Tatum can't play defense, Enes Kanter can't play defense, Jaylen Brown can, and who's going to start at the 4? We don't even know who's going to start. So I think their defense is going to be way worse than it was in previous years. And then if I say a team that doesn't really have much pressure going in on them, it's actually going to be Chicago Bulls. A big market team, but nobody's really talking about them because they've sucked the past few years. But I think they're Their starting five is really good, and I think they can be a mid-tier playoff team.
And now on to the West. The team I think that has the most pressure is actually the Houston Rockets. You saw they traded away Chris Paul because they've been losing basically to the Warriors these past couple of years, and they can't really figure it out. And now they're going to have Westbrook and Harden back together to see if maybe that's how they get to the finals. But part of it is, too, James Harden just hasn't been clutch. You've seen it these past couple of years, too, when he needs to make the big play. He just hasn't done it. And I think with this Westbrook trade, they're just trying to hope that they can make it to the finals, and if not, panic mode.
More pressure than the Lakers?
Well, it maybe, yeah, because the Lakers, they haven't really. I know they have LeBron. I don't know.
The reason I guess I'll just say mine. I'll skip in front of Lucas here. I have the Lakers because LeBron, whatever team's LeBron's on is going to have pressure to win the championship. That's the expectation every single season. Whether it's warranted or not, you can argue. I think the Lakers are going to win the title this year. So there's that. And then if I say a team that really doesn't have much pressure on them, is my number one seed, actually, the Utah Jazz. Nobody's talking about them, but people need to realize that this is a really good team with a deep roster and a great coach. So, yeah.
And then before Lucas
I'm
goes,
sorry.
No, that's fine.
I cut you off there.
No, that's fine. And then just for the team I don't think has a lot of pressure is actually the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah.
And I completely disagree.
I agree, actually.
Because with Klay Thompson out, they don't really expect the
I
Warriors
think
to
this
do
is
a whole
when they're going
lot.
to be like, this is where Curry steps in. I think they put a lot on Curry now.
I think that will happen, but I don't necessarily think anyone expects it.
Yeah, especially with the
from an
Clippers
outsider
and the
perspective.
Lakers as the two powerhouses in the West. I don't think people expect the Warriors to take those two down. So that's why I think
My most pressure is actually the Warriors. I think that they're going to really. I think this is when some of the bigger people in the world are going to be. I don't know how to say it. Stephen A. Smith. I don't know what to call him. I'm not going to call him a sports
Bigger
expert.
I guess
I won't even call him a
media
reporter.
members.
I think all the bigger media members, I like that term, are going to say, hey, Curry, this is your time to shine. And I think that some of it's going to be they kind of just had their super team drop quite a bit.
Yeah.
They went from Durant to Russell, which hurts, but I like Russell a lot. I love D'Angelo Russell. He should have been in Minnesota. Screw KD for screwing that up.
Yeah.
Because he would have been an unrestricted if KD wouldn't have said, trade me for Russell when KD left. That's exactly how it happened, and it sucks.
Yeah, KD was nice and told the Warriors, "Hey, I'm gonna sign with the Nets, try to get something for me."
Maybe that. Regardless, KD's.
Yeah.
Sorry to all the mothers watching. I kept my mouth shut that time. My West team that I think could kind of sneak, they have no pressure, that could sneak their way in, is actually Dallas.
Yep.
With Kristaps and Doncic, I could see a kind of step around getting in kind of thing. I don't know. I like that team a little bit. I think they have a chance. What do you got?
This really confuses me. Taurean Prince gets a 2-year, $29 million contract with the Nets. I feel like that's way too much.
I do not. That's 14 and a half a year.
Yeah, DeJounte's making 16.
I think Prince has a chance to become something special.
how
Still.
Special?
old is he?
26?
How old is he?
Yeah, he's probably somewhere in there if I had to guess.
I can look quick. But yeah.
I gotcha. He is actually 25. So he's not old. I just don't think he's that good a player.
I think he has the greatest interview of all time, and the last person to have the greatest interview of all time was Allen Iverson. He became special.
Okay.
Mic drop. That's all I'm saying.
So you're saying he's going to be AI?
No, not by any means. I said he's going to be special.
Okay.
All right. We got one underdog team in each conference. Who wants to go first?
One underdog team in each conference. I'll just start with the East. I basically said that earlier in our playoff predictions last week. The Bulls, I don't think they're really expected to do a whole lot, and I think they're kind of under the radar. But I feel like with Lauri Markkanen and Zach LaVine building up to be superstar players again, especially Zach LaVine, I think they could sneak their way into the playoffs.
My East team is the Magic. I think they have a lot of young pieces, and maybe this year's the year they turn it around. I personally don't think so. I think it's a couple years away yet. I think they're a year away from 2 years away. But
A year away from 2 years away. So 3 years away.
yeah, do you guys remember when Bruno Caboclo got drafted?
Caboclo.
Who cares? That guy didn't even do anything.
Who knows him?
Anyway,
I do.
when he got drafted,
He was the
Bill
lowest
Simmons-
rated player in 2K a couple years ago.
That's true, and now he's kind of decent if you watch him some.
Yeah.
Anyway, when he got drafted, Bill Simmons said he was 2 years away from 2 years away, and I love that quote, so I use it whenever I can.
Okay.
So be ready for a fun NBA season of me saying that probably every week. Aaron, your East team?
Mine's the Pistons. I just really like their team. I like Blake Griffin, Andre Drummond, Derrick Rose, Reggie Jackson. They got a good squad up there.
They got some veterans. They have an experienced lineup coming in,
Yeah, I really like them making some moves in the East this year.
and I like Sekou.
And now for the West, my underdog team, I actually have the Mavs. Especially with KP coming back from his injury, I don't think the Mavs are projected to do a whole lot. I mean, they have Luka and Porzingis, but when you think of the rest of their team, they don't really have a whole bunch of talent from what I can think of. But I feel like Luka and Porzingis could definitely do some damage and fight for like a 7-8 seed in that West.
My West team is my favorite team in the West. That's not the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Kings. I wouldn't be surprised, or something I'd be interested in.
Garrett Cole's starting game 1.
Oh,
That's
no.
interesting.
That's what I would do. I love Garrett Cole.
Yeah,
Anyway,
that's gonna be fun. Scherzer versus Cole.
Anyway, if you'd let me frickin' talk
That's
about an important
this is
sport,
way more important than your. Never mind.
whatever.
Continue.
Break my heart. It's okay.
It's broken.
Yeah, it is. But I wouldn't be surprised if Buddy Hield getting this money that he's getting kind of motivated him a little. I don't think it'll actually happen, but if it did, this Kings team could be special.
They did also just pay Harrison Barnes a decent amount of money as well.
You got to pay Harrison Barnes a lot of money.
2
That guy
contracts
gets
that I
paid.
think are really bad.
Harrison Barnes just gets paid wherever he goes. I like Harrison Barnes. He's not worth the money that anyone ever gives him, but he's good.
He's got a good agent. I don't know who it is, but it's a good agent.
Damn good agent. I want his agent.
Yeah.
Get his agent on the podcast. Anyway, also Bagley, another guy I'd like to bring up, but yeah, I think the Kings could be special.
Yeah, my underdog team, it's really hard for me to pick just one because there's so many teams that you could kind of argue are in that discussion. But I'd probably go with the Kings as well, or the Pelicans. One of those two. I'm just looking at the standings right now. I would actually probably go with the Pelicans. Without Zion, it's kind of hard to start the year, but I think they're going to slowly kind of get their chemistry together once Zion comes back, and I think they can sneak in that 8th spot.
Okay, so now we're done with the NBA. We're heading on to kind of our last topic, like usual, fantasy sports betting. Aaron, do you want to give us our standings for the picks?
Absolutely, I would. Me and Lucas were both 3-0 this week, and Ashton has the Jets winning tonight, so he is 2-0. But he's gonna lose, so he'll be 2-1 going into next week.
Yeah, even if they don't win, as long as they win against the spread, lose by 10 points or by 9 or less, or win, I have the Jets.
So Ashton does have a chance to be tied with me and Lucas at 3-0, but it probably won't happen. I like giving him crap about this. So let's just go on to our start, sit, and waivers for this week.
Okay, so for my start, DK Metcalf, they play the Falcons, and obviously the Falcons are just hot garbage. So
Yeah, their secondary sucks.
Don't need to say much about
Keanu.
that. And then for the sit, Josh Jacobs, they do play the Texans, who are 4th in the league for rushing yards allowed per game, so they are a very good run defense this year. And then someone to pick up, John Brown, I think, they play the Eagles, who they seem to be a hot mess with their secondary as well. So that's my starts at waiver, or pickup.
All right, for my start sit waiver, I'm going to start my boy Gardner Minshew. I was struggling to find a start this week that I felt confident in, so I went with Old Reliable, give it a couple knocks on the old wood.
On the old wood.
I'm going to sit Melvin Gordon. I think that now is when they start to turn to Eckler, because Eckler had a better game for the second week in a row than Gordon. And
Well, fantasy perspective, he only had like 7 rushing yards.
yeah, but fantasy, I'm talking fantasy.
Yeah.
And Melvin Gordon's just been horrible coming back so far.
Mhm.
And my waiver, gonna piss Aaron off a little. I'm gonna say D.D. Westbrook. I know Aaron's not very big on D.D. Westbrook.
I was at the start of the year. I just don't think Minshew likes him.
I disagree completely. 8 targets in the last 3 weeks. 8+ targets in the last 3 weeks. I think it's like 10, 8, 11. He's getting the targets. It's just he hasn't done anything. He did a little bit last week. He's slowly going up. I think now we can start to put some stock in D.D. Westbrook. Chark had a quiet game last week, but
Yeah, that's kind of the reason why I'm not necessarily as high on D.D. Westbrook. I don't think Minshew
I think
likes
he
him
could
as
be a
much.
good waiver pickup for a flex at least. That's
Yeah.
what I'll say. All right, you're up.
So my start, I was actually dead right about sitting this guy last week. David Montgomery. I think start him this week. Matt Nagy came out and said that we need to run the ball more. So I think David Montgomery, he should get the bulk of the carries. I don't know if he will, but he should. So that's why I use my starter. My sit this week is Devin Singletary. He just hasn't been as productive as I thought he would be. I don't like the matchup this week. I think we should just wait and see with Devin Singletary. And my waiver pickup is actually Corey Davis. Ryan Tannehill, he seemed to like him in the week one. And in the first week of him starting, Lucas is giving me a weird look on his face. Please explain.
He's not doing. He's getting like 6 targets. I mean,
This was his first week with Ryan Tannehill, and he had over, I believe, 8 targets, and he was 75%.
6 targets, 5 receptions.
I believe it was 8. You might be right. I'm going to fact check this.
It was either 8 targets, 6 receptions, or it was 6 targets, 5 receptions.
7 targets, 6 receptions, 75% snap percentage, which I really like. He also caught a touchdown, 80 yards receiving. I think he could actually kind of go off with Ryan Tannehill because he's got all the talent in the world. He was drafted in the first round for a reason. So he's one of those guys that I think you could really watch out for as maybe a big blow up here. So yeah.
I mean, I personally won't pick him up, but you do you.
I will. In some leagues. Some of them I don't have room.
And for our last thing, let's get our 3 picks of the week for the betting lines. I'll start. So my first one, Broncos Colts. Colts are favored -6. I'm going to take the Colts here. Denver's very inconsistent, and the Colts are at home. They're a very good home team, even though they're kind of inconsistent as well. And then Bengals Rams. I have the Rams. They are favored by -12.5, and I'm going to take the Rams. Bengals, they're like the Falcons, just hot garbage, a hot mess right now. I think the Rams are kind of figuring it out a little bit, even though they still have some question marks. And then Packers favored -4.5 at the Chiefs on Sunday night. I am going to take the Packers once again. A little biased, but especially without Patty, I think that helps the Packers out a lot.
My first line, same as Ashton with the Rams Bengals line, but I'm going to take the Bengals. I think they're in London, and I think some stupid crap's going to happen, and Joe Mixon will finally give me more than 6 points. We're all praying, at least. My next one, I got the Jags that are favored by 4.5, and I'll take that over the Jets. I don't think the Jets are that good. And I'm huge on the Jags, obviously, because I got my boy. He cuts his own Jordan Gardner Minshew. He's my boy.
He is the boy.
And my third one, the Dolphins are obviously not favored by 16.5, but it's also against the Steelers, who aren't that good.
This is going to be an amazing Monday Night Football game.
I'm not big on the Steelers right now because I don't know. They just look like crap. So I think the Dolphins can cover that. I don't think they'll win by any means, but I think they'll cover it.
Yeah, it seems like you guys were looking at my notes a little bit. I have the Dolphins beating the 16.5 line against the Steelers on Monday night. I just don't think the Steelers are good enough to beat any NFL team by more than 17 points. That's really what it comes down to. Lucas, reading my notes again. Bengals versus Rams. I have the Bengals taking that one just because it's in London. They're plus 12.5. I got it at.
Okay, but what I would like to say earlier is I did say this earlier, and Aaron looked at me with the most confused look in the world.
Did I?
Whatever. It's okay.
I don't remember this.
I do.
I don't.
It happened to me. I remember.
Okay. Well,
Let's hear your third line.
I'm taking the Bengals. Hold on. Can I explain? NFL teams in London, it's super inconsistent. And if you're giving me 12.5 on one team, I'm gonna take it in London. And then my third line may come as a surprise to most of you guys, but on Thursday night, the Redskins are, or the Vikings rather, are favored by 16.5, and I'm going to take the Redskins all day. I love the Vikings, and I think they're, I mean, obviously they're my fourth best team, but I just don't like any team. This is the same with London. I don't like the big favorites on Thursday night, and I'm going to bet against it.
Thank God he bet against the Vikings. So
The Vikings are still going to win by probably 10 to 14. I just don't think it'll be by triple or by 3 scores.
It all depends if Thielen plays. That will be interesting.
I don't think it really matters. If Thielen
neither do
plays.
Yeah.
The Redskins defense.
But as
is
far as the points,
guard.
Yeah, but like I'm saying, I mean the Vikings are gonna probably come out running the ball because they can. They don't need to. They won't have much of their offense in there because it's Thursday night. So yeah, I'm gonna go with that. And then the Nationals rotation, it'll be Scherzer, Strasburg, and they don't know for Game 3. So yeah, has that been it, boys?
anything else?
Anything to add, Lucas?
Yeah, I actually just realized about 2 minutes ago that I forgot something. Table slap. What do you got?
We're sorry for everyone's ears.
It's every week. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have to apologize though. People are wearing headphones.
Sorry.
This hurt them. Okay.
Good.
So-
I'm glad that someone got hurt after I get hurt every week.
Are we done? Because Ashton's got to go to work.
Yeah. Let's wrap her up.
Alrighty. Good
Yeah.
podcast, boys.
Yep.
Um,
This shows, though, we're all busy people.
Yeah,
got
we
things-
are. We're sorry that this last podcast took so long to get out, but we'll be better. Or we hope to be, anyway. So be sure to check us out next week. Be sure to check us out on iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, YouTube, Radio something,
Public.
Radio Public. Be sure to check us out on everything. Share it with your grandma. Share it with your step cousin. Share it with your dog. Your dog would actually really enjoy it, potentially.
Especially the table slaps. Be the dog's favorite
Yeah,
part.
yeah. It might get a good energy going.
And then if you ever want to join the show, just talk to us about it, DM us or something.
Yeah, reach out to us on Instagram or
Yeah,
Twitter.
Instagram's probably going to be the best way to
Snapchat.
contact us. I'll be the quickest over there, I'd assume. For the Sports Enthusiast page, anyway. By the way, Sports Enthusiast on Instagram, Sports ENT Pod on Twitter. Check us out there and have a good one, everyone.
Yep.
Anything to
Thank
add?
you.
All right. Good podcast. Have a good one.